with the latest BBC News for the West Midlands at 6 and more and more. Good morning. Today marks a year since the all-out bin strikes in Birmingham started, and there's still no end in sight.
Neither the council nor the union have changed their position at all. They've met, there have been talks. ACAS, the conciliation service, have chaired a number of meetings, and they weren't able to find a middle ground at all.
Alan Jones there, he's industrial correspondent at PA News, and he's watched over the situation for us over the past year.
Now, the council is pressing ahead with the changes which sparked this dispute. They're going to bring out this new system in June, and the union is still opposed to what they're doing. There's been no middle ground.
Well, it marks a year and a special show this morning here on BBC Radio WM, and we'll focus in over the last 12 months and what's ahead, really. Meanwhile, BBC Radio WM has been speaking to two Birmingham residents who agree with the Enough is Enough campaign. That's the campaign that urges people to stop paying their portion of council tax dedicated to waste collection as of April the 1st in protest. Here's Dorothy.
Birmingham is saying enough is enough. And there is a proposal by Bishop Desmond Jadu that if the residents want to, they can withhold their council tax. The other things, yes, but for the bin strike, withhold your council tax.
As I say, Dorothy from Aston there. You can hear more from her and her friend Ray just after 7 o'clock this morning here on BBC Radio WM.
It's a big day today. All day we're going to be marking the first anniversary of the all-out bin strike in Brum. A lot has happened. And on this programme, you're going to hear a bit of a rundown of where we've been, the arguments that have been made over the year. There's a striking bin worker who's talking for the first time about what it's been like to be on strike for all this time. And the BBC Radio WM wheelie bin has been out around the city. So we've got an actual wheelie bin. We've dragged it about. We've been to places like Erdington, Saltley, Yardley, talking to people. The Emperor of the Black Country has been escorting this bin. I mean, he's had to be careful that people don't put all the recycling in it. So he's kept a close eye on it. There's a microphone sticking out the top of the bin. It's actually with me here in the studio this morning. I'll introduce you to it. But lots of people have been kind of leaning in and talking to the wheelie bin about what this whole year has been like.
I put everything and anything that I need to get rid of in my household bin. Pasta pots, tins of beans, you name it, goes in it.
Inside we put in cardboard, we put in plastic and bottles, cans, everything, unfortunately.
Well, we have to put the food waste and lot of rubbish in the other bin. Recycling bins, they're empty. We can't put none in because they won't collect it.
Luckily, I'm as old as I am, so we don't have any problems down below to put in there.
The people in Birmingham should do better. They should try to do less rubbish.
It's painful that we have to tell our children now to stick everything in the trash.
It's not good, bin.
People talking to the bin. I tell you what was really interesting. If you go out into the streets with a microphone, around here people are good at talking to you. They'll always talk to you. But there's something about leaning into a bin and having a chat with the bin which made people really keen to talk. So it's here. We've brought it. It's an actual wheelie bin. It's a black one. And on the top it says no hot ashes, no liquids. There's a microphone coming out of the top so you can lean in and have a word with the BBC Radio WM wheelie bin. There he is. Very friendly. So if you missed the bin on tour, now is your chance. I want to hear from you. How frustrated are you? Do you feel guilty, like those people, about chucking the recycling into the main bin for a whole year? What would you say if you were in front of the council or Unite the Union? How does this all end? A year in. Let me know your thoughts. Talk to the bin today. 08000 321 333 with WM before your message. And hear more of the people of Birmingham from the striking bin workers and also people who are backing the idea of withholding your council tax. So lots on the show this morning to share with you.
Thanks, Sarah. Good morning. The government is urging both sides in the long-running Birmingham bin strike to bring the dispute to an end on today, the anniversary of the all-out strikes by hundreds of workers. Well, members of Unite started that continuous walkout a year ago today in a dispute over pay with little sign of breakthrough in that deadlocked row. Well, the union, for its part, says planned reforms of the refuse collection service will lead to hundreds of its members losing thousands of pounds. The council says a new improved service will roll out in the summer.
We are on the programme today, our main story, marking the 1 year anniversary of the all-out bin strike in Birmingham. Today marks 1 year since members of Unite started a continuous walkout March the 11th last year in a dispute over pay. A year later, there's really little sign of breakthrough. Today, the government is urging both sides in the long-running strike to bring the dispute to an end. The Communities and Local Government Department is telling Birmingham City Council and Unite the Union to get back to serving local residents. That must remain a priority. And it's been a big year and a difficult year for people who live in Birmingham. And if you need reminding of everything that has happened, here you go.
Bin workers in Birmingham are starting an all-out strike today.
Call it what you want, but this is about fairness, dignity and respect at work.
I think it's important that everyone's paid fairly, which is why we're resetting the entire pay and grading model.
I'm at the Tyseley depot this morning. Might be able to hear some of the drums in the background on the picket line.
We'd rather actually be out there doing the work, and sadly the powers that be made it so we're out here striking.
And I utterly condemn the actions of some of those on the picket lines that is obstructing the highway, stopping our trucks leaving.
It's taking up a good half of the pavement already. And of course, riding along right next to it, the smell's even worse.
Alarmingly, we're hearing of rats the size of cats in Britain's second city.
I'm actually going up and down the street now with a couple of other people, picking other people's bin bags up. We shouldn't be doing this, but obviously we've got to do it to keep the streets clean and keep the vermin off the streets.
There's so many people with recycling. It's getting ridiculous. It's all going into the same bin. It's just a wasteful cause, isn't it?
We've got rats in the house. I've got little grandchildren, toddlers in the house. The rats are ripping the bags open, causing a health problem for everybody.
We're here to send a loud message that we've got their back, we support them, and we stand in solidarity with the cause that they're on.
It's 6 months today since the start of the all-out bin strike in Birmingham.
Are we at the stage now where we're thinking about it's a bit like the miners' strike?
Yes, we could well be looking at this dispute lasting a year, which would put it way up there as one of the longest-running disputes ever.
I've got to turn to family, friends. Imagine how degrading that is. You're having to go cap in hand where you've never done that before.
Are you confident it can be solved within the year?
Certainly want to see this brought to a close as soon as possible.
When would you like it to be done?
Look, if we could fix this tomorrow, I'd happily have it fixed tomorrow. What we know is that it has gone on too long. I'm not going to put a time frame or a date line on this. I think that would be an irresponsible thing to do. But absolutely, we're committed to trying to find a final resolution to this.
1 year of the Birmingham bin strike. You're going to hear a lot of views this morning. The BBC Radio WM wheelie bin. We've actually got one. It's right here. And it's got a microphone on the top. And it's been all over the city. And people have been bending over, leaning into the bin and just being really honest on how it's been, having a whole year without a proper bin service and no recycling whatsoever. You are going to hear some people's confessions of what they've had to do, how bad it's been throughout the show this morning, and we'd love to hear from you as well. As always, 08000 321 333 with WM before you message. So Kev's been on. So we were a year in, a year of the bin strike, and what does the council do? They give us another bin. Another bin, while day after day, more and more, the roads resemble the Grand Canyon. How do they come up with these ideas? Is it after they've been to the pub? What a job. Thank you, Kev. Thanks very much for coming on and sending us that message. So where are we with this then? The council is pressing ahead with the changes, as Kev mentions. The changes, it says, are needed to improve the city's waste service, including trialling that food bin. That's one of their new ideas. They say their new improved service will roll out in the summer, and they urge striking workers to come back to work and be part of the new and improved service. They also say their offers to Unite have been rejected, but the door remains open. Unite, meanwhile, say the reforms to the waste service means hundreds of its members will lose thousands of pounds, and the offers from the council were just not good enough. So that's where we are, and that position hasn't really changed for months now. Well, it's been going on a year and we're marking it today. It's the 1 year anniversary of the Birmingham bin strike. Nobody thought it would go on for this long and cost this much money to the council. So you've heard the arguments rehearsed over and over again over the last few months. The drivers and the bin workers say that they're at risk of losing £8,000. The council say the whole service needs to be modernised, that they've put out a fair and reasonable offer, which has been rejected by Unite. And we've gone round and round and round those arguments all year. But what has it meant for you? What has it been like? We've got some bin confessions. I've actually got the wheelie bin here with us. We've got a BBC Radio WM wheelie bin that's been around the streets. So it's been to Yardley, Erdington, it's been to Saltley. People have been leaning over, very willing actually to talk to the wheelie bin I think more willing than talking to a reporter, it's easy to talk into a bin. So the bin is waiting for your thoughts. Chris has been on. Chris has had to get a garden incinerator to burn all the cardboard. Chris says full recycling bin just sitting there, not being collected, well, for over a year. Feeling guilty, just putting all the plastics in the bin, but there's no alternative because I've got no transport. Chris, we've heard that time and time again. There's some confessions coming up, and you will hear from somebody who's seen their neighbours digging up their back garden to bury their rubbish. Real insight this morning into what everyone's been going through this whole year with the Birmingham bin strike 1 year on. Right, it's 7:10 and today is the day we are marking the year anniversary since the all-out bin strike started in Birmingham. 1 whole year. 11th of March 2025, the day that Unite bin workers began their all-out strike across Birmingham. And then in the 12 months, we've seen all sorts, haven't we? Rubbish piled up high in the city, talk of rats, people talking Birmingham down right across the country and across the globe, missed collection and, crucially, no recycling taken from the curbside for over a year. So today, across the programme, sharing conversations with all sorts of people. You're going to hear a striking bin worker talking for the very first time. We've got our wheelie bin confessionals. We've had a wheelie bin out across the city with a mic in it. People have leaned in and really told us very honestly how the last year has been for them. And I want to introduce you now to Ray and Dorothy from Aston. I went to see them earlier this week, not far from Villa Park. Now, both of them support the bin men. They don't think they should lose out on the £8,000 the council are proposing, but they are sick and tired of the rubbish and the mess in the street. They had some strong feelings to share with me, and Ray started by telling me he thinks that this has all been going on longer than we realise.
It's more than a year, because basically Councillor Clancy and Ian Ward has been dealing with this issue with the rubbish strike. So I would say put it down to 3 to 4 years this has been going on.
So you mean 3 to 4 years of a poor service?
That's right.
Yeah.
Very poor service, and we're paying our council taxes and we're not seeing any benefits from it.
And I guess this is what the dispute is about, isn't it? Because you speak to the council, they will say this is all about improving the service. What they want to do, that's their line. You're looking at me quizzically there, Dorothy. You don't buy that?
No, I don't buy it at all. Because even if you're going to improve a service, the thing about it shouldn't take a whole year. But now it's a year. We've got a slogan that says enough is enough. Birmingham has had enough of this because we're the second city and it doesn't look right.
You said that the slogan is enough is enough. What does that mean in practice?
In practice, it means we've had enough. We are tired. Birmingham is saying enough is enough. And there is a proposal by Bishop Desmond Jadu that if the residents want to, they can withhold their council tax. And I think really that is good, because if we're not getting the service, then why should we pay the council tax for the bin? The other things, yes, but for the bin strike, withhold your council tax. Simple as that. So enough is enough.
Could people end up in prison if they don't pay the council
like the
tax?
poll tax thing that went on. Oh, I suppose, yes, they'll probably put that on them. But don't be afraid.
What does enough is enough mean to you, Raymond?
Getting a poor service, not getting anything back from my council tax. When you look all around, I'm getting squeezed by electric. I'm getting squeezed by groceries. I'm getting squeezed everywhere. We can't even afford the 5% raise on our council tax. So enough is enough.
Lady there with a pram you were just pointing out.
Yes, I was pointing out because there she is now. She's gone to get her shopping, got a baby, you know, push it in a buggy, and she's got to stop right there by the rubbish on the corner. You know what I mean? Going around it. So, and obviously this is nothing as well. People who are disabled with their, you know what I mean, their wheelchairs and everything. When you see the rubbish piled up, sometimes you've got the cars on the side, they've got to go into the road to avoid all of that.
Yeah, as you say, that poor lady, she's got a buggy. She's getting up on the getting onto the curb, and she can't kind of get around easily because of the pile of rubbish.
And got one of her shopping on the floor because of that, so there we go.
And I know you've heard from people who feel like they've become ill because of these piles of rubbish.
Yes, we have. There's, you know, obviously there was a gentleman at the meeting on Thursday we had at Wallace Lawless Centre with Bishop Desmond Jadu, and he was saying one of his sons, you know, got an infection because, and it has been, you know, obviously hospitalised because of that. And it is because of the rubbish, and there's rats running around and mice and coming into people's houses as well. Therefore, as we said, enough. People need to sit down, objectively and see where can we come together, meet in the middle, and let's sort out Birmingham once and for all. We're no longer, with the equal pay for the women and that's been...
But that's what he's worried about, isn't he? If he gives them all the £8,000, if they can keep this £8,000, that it would therefore open up a whole load of other claims for, dinner ladies and support staff and people like that who would then want equal pay, and then they'd be back round there again.
Rightfully so, but in every area of employment you've got different grades, and if you're paying people fairly with what the grade that they're working to, then therefore there shouldn't be no need of this. But as we know, this is a long-standing issue with women. It's not just now, this has gone for centuries.
With the equal pays, they have been warned not to put it through high court. They put it through anyway. With the warnings, they should have made instructions that basically, by law, women should get equal pay. So I don't buy it. It's their fault. Why do we have to have the brunt of being in this field of bankruptcy? It's not fair on us. And plus the 5% that they're putting on as well for next April. It's not fair. It's not fair on us.
That's Ray and Dorothy. They are part of a group saying enough is enough with the Birmingham bin strike, and maybe what needs to happen is a withdrawing of the part of the council tax that reflects the refuse collection. I met them in Aston, and as you heard, there was rubbish on the streets. There were piles of rubbish, and this poor lady had to kind of dodge it with her pushchair, so she couldn't properly get onto the pavement because the pavement was blocked with rubbish. And then she had a shopping underneath the pushchair, and the donuts fell out into the road, and then she had to pick up the donuts. And these are small things, but they're affecting daily life. So a year in, we're talking about the Birmingham bin strike and what it means to you. 08000 321 333 with WM before your message. Hear what happened when we took our BBC Radio WM wheelie bin out onto the streets next. Apologies, we didn't have Linda, but we've got this now. So this is Josh, our reporter, out talking to people in Birmingham and specifically in Erdington into the wheelie bin. And Linda, as you're going to hear, is pretty angry.
Well, I was angry because what do they want? How much do they want? I mean, it's not a very nice job. And if you speak to them nice, they'll speak to you nice. And they will help you, the dustbin men. But I don't know how far into politics because I'm not really into politics. But I do think we should get Labour out.
You blame the council, do you?
Well, Labour's not helping. And Labour, when I grew up, was always for the working class. It's not no more.
We're victims of both of them. You can't put the blame solely on the bin men. But the council ain't got the money there to pay them.
So you'd say that, it's a little bit of one, it's a little bit of the other, but it's residents getting caught in the middle.
Yeah, the government shouldn't be allowing it to carry on. What can we do? We're in a situation where there doesn't seem no end. We're being held to ransom. There's nothing else you can say. It shouldn't be happening.
B, right, what's it been like this year?
Terrible, because I haven't done anything about the rubbish and everything else and the bins and all that.
And what's it looking like at your place at the moment?
Looks like a tramp.
Describe what it's looking like.
The bins are all full up and rubbish all over the place, even furniture's all over the place.
Furniture?
It's like beds, mattresses, wardrobes.
Do you think people are taking advantage then?
Yeah, I think they are. I think they're taking a mick, yeah.
You were living in Birmingham 10 years ago, were you?
I was born here.
You remember the last bin strike. How does it compare to the last bin strike?
It's worse than everywhere else because people have to dig their gardens to put the rubbish in.
Well, hang on, right, people are burying their rubbish?
Yeah. They're burying it, they're digging up the garden, putting the rubbish in because there's nowhere else to put it, is there?
Wouldn't they just take it to the tip or something like that?
No, they won't, no.
So who do you know that's doing this?
Loads of people. I can't mention no names.
But just people in your area?
Yeah.
No way. Kelly, listen, we've got a bin here and we're doing a bin confessional. Would you like to confess some stuff to our bin?
My confession is I put everything and anything that I need to get rid of in my household bin. My cardboard.
What about your yoghurt pots, or what are you doing with your
yoghurt pots, pasta pots, tins of beans, you name it, goes in it. And unwashed.
Oh, how dare she? 5 Hail Marys, Kelly.
At the confessional, at the bin. Josh, isn't it amazing what people will tell you when they're talking into a bin? I've heard a lot of stories this year, but that's the first time I've heard people digging up their gardens to bury the rubbish.
Absolutely. I was completely gobsmacked when I heard that.
Yeah.
She wasn't just talking about one person. She was talking about several people in her neighbourhood going to those lengths. And this is the situation that we're in at the moment, Sarah. If you can't get to a tip, you've seen people fly tipping and now burying it in the gardens.
Yeah, we also heard from Yardley, from Chris, who's bought a garden incinerator. He's burning all the cardboard. And I should say it's not people's fault, really, is it? What are they expected to do? This one is from Mick, who's in Bilston, so not suffering with the bin strike, but kind of looking on to this. People of Birmingham, stop paying the council tax. You're not getting your service. What will they do? The court is full. The prisons are full. Call their bluff and vote them out in May. Thank you, Mick. It's BBC Radio WM. It's 1 year of the Birmingham bin strike. Good morning, Wednesday the 11th of March. And on this day last year, Unite Bin Workers began their all-out strike across Birmingham. And in the 12 months since, what a story we have had to tell you about, with rubbish piling up on the streets. People talking about Birmingham as if it's a dump, not only in the UK, but all over the world. And the same arguments going round and round and round again between the council and Unite the Union, who don't seem to be able to come up with any kind of conclusions. Missed collections, no recycling taken from the curbside for over a year. Today across the show, we're sharing conversations with lots of different people affected, and I'd love to hear from you. We've got our wheelie bin confessional. So this wheelie bin has been dragged around Birmingham over the last few days. It's now made its way here to the BBC Radio WM studio. If I lift the lid, I can see inside. People haven't been putting their recycling in it, thankfully. But there's a microphone on top, which people have been leaning into and just saying what it's been like. So you can share your thoughts on 08000 321 333 with WM before your message. Tell the bin a year on. So let me introduce you to George Wilson from Northfield. He was a striking bin worker. He was a driver, team leader on the bins, which involved vehicle checks, doing PPE for his staff and, of course, collecting the bins. And he did this for just shy of 15 years. Until he was made compulsory redundant by Birmingham City Council. I asked him about what he thought of the proposals for change when they first came about.
First of all, they wanted to get rid of the WRCO role.
That was a loader on the back?
Yes, it was. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of contradiction going around, thinking that we had two loaders and what they call a worko role going around just putting stuff in. That was never the case. It was only ever two loaders. One was a worko role. Back in 2017, they introduced this role. The High Court deemed it as a safety critical role. They were given the tools to do the job, like record things and that, but they never worked. Forward 7-8 years, now they want to get rid of the role all of a sudden. They've done it to save £900,000 a year. So far, this strike's cost them approximately £35 million.
What do you think about that?
I think it's disgusting the way they're wasting taxpayers' money.
So you went on strike willingly, did you, at the start of all this?
Yes, we went out on strike in solidarity with our Grade 3 workos. We was assured that the Grade 4 driver team leader would not be touched. We had that in writing from the director, Rob Edmondson. And then so many months into the strike, they decided they was going to remove the Grade 4 driver team leader.
So then the drivers got dragged into all of this?
Yes.
How often have you been on the picket line?
Every day.
Every day?
Every day.
Why?
Solidarity. Even since I got compulsory redundant or dismissed, as they called it, I've still been there every day.
What's it been like?
The mood's good. I think
even in the depths of winter and those days when it rained every single day.
Yeah, it's cold and it's windy, but you know you've got to stand there. We've got to show them that we're not giving up, and that is the feeling on the picket line. Again, I think residents they're coming round to realising that they've been taken for mugs by Birmingham City Council, the money they've wasted. I heard the interview with John Cotton and Ed James. He admitted that equal pay liabilities come to nearly £1 billion. Equal pay issue wasn't the bin workers' fault. A £320 million loss on the Athletes' Village wasn't. I think they're just deflecting from their incompetence, and this is a good way for them to deflect onto the bin workers because it's such an essential service.
But what the council will say, and they've said this right from the start, is that it needed modernising. They needed to bring it up to speed. They needed to improve the service, and this is what they were doing.
Yeah, and you ask any bin worker, and everyone will tell you it did need modernising. I was going out in vehicles that were breaking down 2, 3, 4 times a day. People's bins were getting missed for that reason.
So you agree that it needs modernising, but
100%.
you don't agree with the way they went about trying to do it?
Not really. I mean, modernisation's one thing, but how is modernisation come about by cutting people's wages?
So in all that time that you were on strike, where were you getting your finances from?
The union pay us strike pay, and you live on that. Luckily for me, my partner works, so I've been supported there.
What was that like, though?
It's not nice, is it? You know, you want to be independent. I've been independent my whole life. I'm 60 years old. Like I say, I'm fortunate enough, but there are people down there who are one-parent families whose wives don't work, partners don't work, and they struggle, but they get by. The solidarity is that strong down there. I mean, Unite the Union have been amazing. They really have. I still hear now that people think we're after an £8,000 pay rise. And 14 months into this, I find that, you know, I think the propaganda that the council have played has been a bit naughty, to be honest with you. They haven't put people right.
But at the end of it, George, they've made you compulsory redundant anyway, so has it all been for nothing?
Not really. For me personally, at my age, it isn't too bad. Had that have happened to somebody in their 20s or 30s, it would be more difficult for them.
But what are you going to do now?
I'm 60 years old. I've drawn down on my pension, either take early retirement or find a little part-time job. I'm thinking of selling up and moving.
Are you?
Yeah.
What, because of this?
Not because of this. It was something I'd always planned to do, but had this not have happened, I would have stayed at the council to retirement age and then done what I'm going to do. This has just brought it forward.
George Wilson, who's been made compulsory redundant by Birmingham City Council, but still going to the picket line every single day, and he was on a strike for a good few months before that. So we're going to be live at one of the picket lines in Birmingham after 8 o'clock this morning as we continue to mark 1 year of the ongoing bin strike in Birmingham. Nobody thought it'd be a year, did they? We've also got confessionals from our wheelie bin. We've had a BBC Radio WM wheelie bin out in Brum, and people have been saying things to the wheelie bin that I don't think they'd say in public, because I think people feel ashamed that they're putting their tins and yoghurt pots in the general rubbish. What can they do, though? I think people are embarrassed that they're burning their rubbish, and one woman has seen her neighbours burying it in the garden. Honestly, in 2026, this is what we're discussing. For the council's point of view, the council said it's pressing ahead with the changes it says are needed to improve the city's waste service, and that their new improved service will roll out in the summer. They urge striking workers to come back to work and be part of the new and improved service. They also say their offers to Unite have been rejected, but the door remains open. Unite, meanwhile, say that the reforms to the waste service mean that hundreds of its members will lose thousands of pounds, and the offers from the council were not good enough. Same arguments that we've heard time and time and time again over the last year. 13 minutes to 8, reflecting here in Brum, a year since the all-out bin strike started. And this week we've sent the BBC Radio WM wheelie bin out on a tour of Birmingham with our Josh.
The Emperor of the Black Country.
The Emperor has been escorting the bin. I don't think people have tried to put their recycling in it, but Josh, they've been very willing to talk to a wheelie bin, haven't they?
People really have. People have been more willing to talk to a wheelie bin than they are to talk to me, Sarah. So I think, you know, in future, even if we are talking about bins, I'm going to take the wheelie bin out with me. But no, I've been taking it round all of Birmingham. We've been getting our wheelie bin confessionals, basically getting people to tell the bin what they've been doing with their recycling, what have they been doing with their gardening waste. Essentially, tell the bin how it's been this past year with the all-out strike. Now, of course, you heard earlier when I was in Erdington, the lengths that people are going to. People reporting burying rubbish in their back garden, essentially creating their own landfill, Sarah. So we moved on from Erdington to Saltley, where I bumped into a couple of lovely ladies. There was Shelley and Lamisha. And Shelley began by telling me what this past year has been like for her.
It's been okay for me because I live in a flat and the rubbish gets taken care of. We have a lot of volunteers in our area as well that does pick up the rubbish, so it hasn't been too bad. But I can understand everybody else's frustration with the rubbish.
You took yours down a rubbish chute?
Yeah, it goes down a chute and then the caretakers take care of it. But we do pay a hefty service charge for that service, so it's not free, but it is very convenient.
Lamisha, what's it been like for you?
It's horrible.
What's it like around your area then?
The street itself is quite clean. We have we have litter pickers that volunteer to pick up the rubbish basically, and then they just bag it up. And then randomly we do get trucks coming around that pick it up. Yeah. And in all fairness, it's majority of the Muslim community that these big vans come around and they put it all in to stop the rats. But if not, sometimes the bins do overflow and you do get the odd rats in your bin and you can hear them. And yeah,
that's not nice, is it? It's not. You know, with the litter pickers and stuff like that, is that something that you've noticed since the strike's been on? Have people sort of mobilised to make
100%, yeah. Since then, yeah, they just want the street to be clean. Who wants a dirty street? It's not very nice to look at.
That says brilliant things about the community, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, 100%, yeah.
What have you ladies been doing for your recycling?
It's been going in the normal way.
Has it?
Yeah. Which in all fairness makes the bin overflow even more because what you meant to do.
Naheem and Ali, lads, what's it been like, this whole process, this whole year of bin strikes? What's the experience been like for you?
It's a disgrace. I mean, at times, when we look at, our roads, it was like we're living in a third world country with all the rats and the mice and all sorts of problems associated with it. I mean, I partly blame the bin men too, because it's been going on and on and on. They should just sit down on the negotiating table and accept some of the offers.
You don't see it that way, do you, Alex?
No, I don't. I think they should get paid their fair due. If they're asking for a pay rise, the government should pay it.
So we're doing a bin confessional over here. Lamisha, can you talk to the bin for us?
I've had to put yogurt parts, I'm talking to a bin, yogurt parts, cardboard, your normal plastic, your shampoo bottles, conditioner bottles, yeah, everything.
How do you think the bin feels about this here in what you're telling it?
I mean, I think the rats enjoy it, but I don't like it.
How do you feel talking to a bin?
I mean, absolutely stupid.
But plenty of people have been doing it. We've been dragging a wheelie bin around Brum. Wasn't that fascinating, talking to people in Saltley? Different views on the conflict and people just admitting what they've been doing with their recycling. And who can blame them? Because there's been no curbside recycling of rubbish in Birmingham for over a year. People have just been having to chuck it in the black bin if they can't get to the tip and then burying it in their back garden, as Josh said, creating their own little landfill in the back garden in 2026. So tell the bin how it's been. I like that. That was clever from Josh. And we'll be back out in Brum in the next half hour because we are marking the anniversary of the 1 year Birmingham bin strike. So on this day, Unite workers began their strikes across Birmingham. I don't think any of us thought this was going to last a whole year. The streets of the second city saw rubbish piled up, missed collections, no recycling taken from the curbside for over a year, and the wheelie bin has been out. How have the people of Birmingham been feeling? They've been telling the bin to our Josh.
My biggest issue is the recycling. It's just damaging for the environment. It's not setting in a good example, and we're just overall destroying the economy by continuing to be on this strike when no one's collecting any recycling at all.
We're victims of both of them. You can't put the blame solely on the bin men, because the council ain't got the money there to pay them. The government shouldn't be allowing it to carry on. What can we do? We're being held to ransom.
What's it like around your area then?
The street itself is quite clean. We have we have litter pickers that volunteer to pick up the rubbish basically, and then they just bag it up. And then randomly we do get trucks coming around that pick it up. Yeah. And in all fairness, it's majority of the Muslim community that these big vans come around and they put it all in to stop the rats.
That says brilliant things about the community, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, 100%, yeah.
How does it compare to the last bin strike?
It's worse than everywhere else because people have to dig their gardens to put the rubbish in.
What, hang on, right, people are burying their rubbish?
Yeah, they're burying it, they're digging up the garden, putting the rubbish in because there's nowhere else to put it, is there?
Wouldn't they just take it to the tip or something like that?
No, they won't, no.
So who do you know that's doing this?
Loads of people, I can't mention no names.
But just people in your area?
Yeah.
No way.
As Josh said earlier, creating a mini landfill in the back garden. That's where we are in 2026. And also some heartwarming stories as well of people having to get together and volunteer to pick up the mess. Our political reporter, Kath Sanchez, is out on the picket line at Tyseley this morning. Hi, Kath.
Hello, good morning, Sarah. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. What's it like there? I spoke to a man who's been on the picket line every day over the last year, and he said that at Tyseley this morning it was going to be a big one.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's a sort of similar atmosphere to there's been on many of these picket lines. As you said, one manned every day for the last year since that continuous strike action began. There's a burger, well, it's bacon baps at this time, van. There's music, there's flags, there's a lot of people, there's hundreds of people here. There's been some chanting, some demonstration, there'll be some speeches as well coming up, and that's generally what the pattern has been. Yes, there's more people probably here this morning because there's lots of supporters here as well to mark this year. But as I was driving over from Longbridge this morning, I was thinking that it kind of sums it up. You've got these workers who have been out on strike action for over a year, but for a year continuously, and then you've got some of the bin wagons that I saw coming through Birmingham that are still collecting normal household rubbish. The agency workers, the extra workers that Birmingham City Council says that they've had on hand, that they are managing this strike and managing to make it still pretty successful. In fact, even the council say they're doing better with some of the collections than they were before. But the arguments are still exactly the same, Sarah. We've talked about it before. The council is trying to modernise this service. It's trying to bring in new ways of doing things. And Unite says that means its workers are losing out big time, and that's why they're still here.
So the people of Birmingham, and we've talked a lot to them over the last year, but they've been really honest in our bin confessionals this morning, and they've been, telling the bin how it's been as we've dragged a wheelie bin round. People burying their rubbish in the back garden. People feeling really guilty about chucking their tins and their yoghurt pots and conditioner into their general waste, and people are just having to get by like this, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you talk to different people, you get different stories. There's quite a few people saying, well, I think my bin collections have been okay. But obviously the recycling is a massive issue because we haven't had a single recycling collection. Now, the council says it's bringing those back in from June when it also starts a new food waste service. They'll be going to fortnightly collections, but they say they've got the capacity to do all that again, even if this workforce that is in front of me right now in Tyseley doesn't come back. They say they're still going to be able to do that. And you just think, well, what does that mean? What's the end game here? Unite says that it has not received a valid offer, that it will not now be able to go back to the council because the council is saying it's going to talk to them and it's refusing to. Birmingham City Council says, we've made you the only offer we can't do anything else. That's what is on the table, and that's it. So we are in very much this stalemate position still, and it's still hard to see how it will end. But lots of people say, but how does it work? It's like, well, a lot of these workers, they are off at the moment. Some of them have sort of agreed certain new terms and conditions, but they're still on strike because they don't think the deal they've been given is good enough. So you think, well, it could just go on for quite a long time. Can I even bear to say, could we be talking another Christmas?
No, don't say that. The council have been saying to the striking workers, come back to work and you'll see how good this new service can be, the service that you've described coming in June. Do you think some of them now, in reality, if they were completely honest, are tempted to get back?
Well, I've been talking to workers throughout this, and it's very difficult. I mean, obviously lots of people think, well, they're just off work, they should be, what are they doing? They're sitting around at home. A lot of these workers have got second jobs now to try and help make ends meet. They do get a payment from Unite, a sort of hardship payment, but it's not as much as a full wage. A lot of them have got second jobs. The sort of toll it takes on you just, not being in your routine, not doing what you normally do is difficult. But they say they're doing it because it's just wrong, because it to have pay cuts, which is what the drivers were facing, to have conditions changing, is just not on. Obviously, the other side, there is, there's some public sympathy, of course there is, with these striking workers, but there's also people who say they need to get back to work now, that actually the council's made clear it can only go so far. It says it can't reopen certain negotiations because of equal pay claims, something Unite disputes, by the way. But some people saying, listen, this doesn't look like there's going to be any changes. You need to get back to work. So there is still very much two sides here. These workers, though, very adamant this morning, Sarah, the ones I've been talking to, they've even come up with a song. I haven't heard the song yet. It's a song marking the first anniversary of the all-out strike, and I'm not quite sure when it's going to be performed, but
Okay.
I'll get back to you with a review.
I've actually
At
heard it.
some
My dad
point.
sent it to me over the weekend. He said, "Have you heard this song that's doing the rounds?" He actually sent me a link to it. So yeah, it's to the tune of My Old Man's a Dustman.
Well, there you go. You've definitely got the jump on me then, because I haven't heard it yet, but I think it's going to be performed live at some point.
is it?
But
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely. But in all seriousness, there is still a lot of resolute people here saying this is what they're doing. They're standing up for what's right.
And finally, Cass, just before you go, May, critical time, I'm imagining. Local council elections in Birmingham, all-out elections. What will the elections in May mean for the Birmingham bin strike?
Well, this is also interesting, isn't it? Because the administration, the Labour administration, which has been running the council, are the people that have been, in these negotiations or not, as the case may be, since last summer. But they're the people saying, we have done all we can, and actually they have a lot of support from the Labour government as well. They're also saying it's on Unite's workers to get back to work. So it looks like that's a pretty, entrenched position. But if that administration changes, what happens? Now, the thing is, a lot of people would suspect that any other party running the council might be even less sympathetic. So you might wonder whether Unite would be thinking we should try and get a deal done before that election. There's no sign of that. But of course, change also brings things we don't know about yet. So who knows what could happen? But that's an unknown quantity at the moment. And at the end of the day, there's a legal mandate for these workers to be on strike until September. They can extend that. They can legally keep doing this as long as they have that mandate. So we will see what happens. But whether or not that would change any of the negotiations, we don't know yet.
Thank you, Kath. Marking 1 year of the Birmingham bin strike today on BBC Radio WM. Also today marking the 1 year anniversary of the all-out bin strike. And what we've been doing is we've sent the BBC Radio WM wheelie bin out on a tour of Birmingham. So this is a standard wheelie bin, and you can lift it up and look inside, and no one so far has put their recycling in it or their rubbish, which I suppose would be tempting in current conditions. It's got a microphone at the top, and people have been leaning over and being really honest and talking into the bin about how it has been. That's a good line. Invented by our Josh, the emperor of the Black Country, and people were very honest, weren't they, Josh?
People have been very honest, Sarah. I'll tell you what, it does wonders taking a bin with a microphone in it, because people just open up, Sarah. But I've been all around Birmingham, right? I was in Erdington. You heard the story about how people have seen people burying their rubbish in their gardens, creating mini landfills. And then I was in Saltley, and I was hearing about some of the positive stories, some of the community action that's been taken, communities coming together to tidy their streets. And I suppose that is the silver lining in this very dark Birmingham story, Sarah. But I moved on from Erdington, moved on from Saltley, and I moved on to Yardley, the next stop in our bin confessional tour, Sarah. I bumped into two people. It was Tristan and Shirley. Now, before they met over the bin confessional, they were strangers, but they got talking about the situation over the past year, and like many people, they've been having to put their recycling into their general waste. And Tristan began by telling me his thoughts on that, Sarah.
My biggest issue is the recycling. It's just damaging for the environment. It's not setting a good example, and we're just overall destroying the economy by continuing to be on this strike when no one's collecting any recycling at all.
Parts of Birmingham that throughout the year you've had bin bags piling up on either side of the street. Have you found that where you live?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's some days people are just just dumping it on the roads, or they're just chucking it in a pavement hoping that someone's going to come collect it. Even when I speak to friends online, they just continuously say that it looks really bad, and it just sets a bad example for the whole city.
Do you resonate with that?
Yes, I agree with everything he says, and I'm putting my recycling into the ordinary bin.
I feel a lot of people are doing that. You're putting your recycling into the ordinary bin.
I'm sneaking a bit in every week because I've got a bin full, so what I do, I just take a few out of one thing and put it into the other one.
Because you're having to do the same as well, are you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's come to a point now where, unfortunately, I do have to give up. Even though in my house I separate the recycling from the rubbish, it makes no difference because unfortunately it all goes in the same bin.
Ahmed, what's the crazy situation that you've saw?
I've seen a few videos on TikTok and WhatsApp going around of people pulling up with the vans, secretly being filmed, dumping piles of rubbish, and not even on their own streets and outside someone's house or on the corner. And it's not only just normal waste rubbish in bags, it is big rubbish as well, like settees and fridges.
But there are people helping out, right?
Yes, definitely. Community centres in mosques, they've set up special days for the community where people can bring their own rubbish because they haven't been collected. People have come together, the bins have come, the rubbish lorries have come at a certain time through pre-arrangement, and they've got the rubbish collected basically that way rather than being collected from the houses.
What's it been like for you, Joan?
It hasn't been too bad because I've got very good neighbours and we sometimes share a bin.
Oh, lovely.
This is only me, and next door I've got families. I put my bin in, they drop it, take it out for me. As soon as the dustbin men have been, they take it back up for me.
Have you had to sort of put your recycling in your general waste and that?
Yes.
Oh.
I have to, can't.
Oh no, of course.
Put the grass in as well.
Put the grass in as well. Winston, what have you thought about the bin strikes? Tell the bin.
Oh, it's horrible, and you should have it sorted out. And believe you me or not, the people of Birmingham should get together and don't pay no council tax until they sort it out. But one or two people cannot do it because the council hang them.
Oh, right, so you think, you're telling the bin that we shouldn't pay council tax
No, not until we sort this out. No council tax for all the Birmingham people.
That's one of the people talking to Ben. That was Winston about council tax. He's not the only one saying that. I've had a couple of messages this morning from people saying if enough of us do it, what are they going to do to us? So we're reflecting the 1 year anniversary of the Birmingham bin strike. We've been on the picket line at Tyseley live this morning at 8:10 if you want to go back on BBC Sounds and have a listen to that with some analysis from our political correspondent about where it's all going to go, how it might end. Thank you to Simon in Solihull who's made a birthday card for the Birmingham bin strike and sent it in. And so it's a big shiny one balloon, which looks very pretty, apart from the fact that the other balloons surrounding it in the bundle are made up of black bin bags, green bin bags, paper boxes, coffee cups, and then there's wheelie bins overflowing and rubbish all over the place. I would like to wish the Birmingham bin strike a very happy first birthday. Birmingham City Council and Unite the Union are cordially invited to the celebrations. Yet, sadly, all Birmingham local communities are not invited. They don't give two hoots about you. Which kind of sums up the feeling that we've had from people this morning as we mark 1 year on from the moment that we heard that Unite the Union were going out on a continuous strike on the 11th of March last year. And ever since then, well, we've talked a lot about it. Of course, we have. We've seen the rubbish pile up, talk of rats and miscollections, no recycling taken from the curbside, and BBC Radio WM has covered every moment of it.
Bin workers in Birmingham are starting an all-out strike today.
Call it what you want, but this is about fairness, dignity and respect at work.
I think it's important that everyone's paid fairly, which is why we're resetting the entire pay and grading model.
I'm at the Tyseley depot this morning. You might be able to hear some of the drums in the background on the picket line.
We'd rather actually be out there doing the work, and sadly the powers that be made it so we're out here striking.
And I utterly condemn the actions of some of those on the picket lines that is obstructing the highway, stopping our trucks leaving.
It's taking up a good half of the pavement already. And of course, riding along right next to it, the smell's even worse.
Alarmingly, we're hearing of rats the size of cats in Britain's second city.
I'm actually going up and down the street now with a couple of other people, picking other people's bin bags up. We shouldn't be doing this, but obviously we've got to do it to keep the streets clean and keep the vermin off the streets.
There's so many people with recycling. It's getting ridiculous. It's all going into the same bin. It's just a wasteful cause, isn't it?
We've got rats in the house. I've got little grandchildren, toddlers in the house. The rats are ripping the bags open, causing a health problem for everybody.
We're here to send a loud message that we've got their back, we support them, and we stand in solidarity with the cause that they're on.
It's 6 months today since the start of the all-out bin strike in Birmingham.
Are we at the stage now where we're thinking about it's a bit like the miners' strike?
Yes, we could well be looking at this dispute lasting a year, which would put it way up there as one of the longest running disputes ever.
I've got to turn to family, friends, Imagine how degrading that is. You're having to go cap in hand where you've never done that before.
Are you confident it can be solved within the year?
Certainly want to see this brought to a close as soon as possible.
When would you like it to be done by?
Look, if we could fix this tomorrow, I'd happily have it fixed tomorrow. What we know is that it has gone on too long. I'm not going to put a time frame or a date line on this. I think that would be an irresponsible thing to do. But absolutely, we're committed to trying to find a final resolution to this.
Well, that was John Cotton talking recently in the hot seat with Ed James, still going over the same arguments. It's the same points, isn't it? Over and over and over again in an endless cycle for a whole year and still no end in sight. So on the show this morning and right across the day on BBC Radio WM, talking to people affected, George, the bin worker, spoke to us for the first time. He's been on the picket line all year round, every single day, despite the fact he was actually made compulsory redundant last summer.
We went out on strike in solidarity with our grade 3 workers.
How often have you been on the picket line?
Every day.
Every day?
Every day.
Why?
Solidarity. Even since I got compulsory redundant or dismissed, as they called it, I've still been there every day. It's cold and it's windy, but you know, you've got to stand there. We've got to show them that we're not giving up, and that is the feeling on the picket line.
Will that happen? Will we be here again in a year's time? Will they manage out of somewhere to come up with some kind of compromise that will work? One thing we know for certain is that the people of Birmingham are not happy. And we've been out with the BBC Radio WM Wheelie Bin on tour. So our Josh, our reporter, has been to Erdington, to Saltley, to Yardley and getting bin confessions. Basically, wheeling up this bin with a microphone inside it and asking people to bend over and tell the bin how it's been.
I put everything and anything that I need to get rid of in my household bin. Pasta pots, tins of beans, you name it, goes in it.
Inside we're putting cardboard, we're putting plastic and bottles, cans, everything, unfortunately.
Well, we have to put the food waste and lot of rubbish in the other bin. Recycling bins, they're empty. We can't put money because they won't collect it.
Luckily, I'm as old as I am, so we don't have any problems down below to put in there.
The people in Birmingham should do better. They should try to do less rubbish.
It's painful that we have to tell our children now to stick everything in the trash.
It's not good, bin.
They were very honest talking to the bin about how it's been. And actually, you can hear the guilt, can't you, of people who've been told for years and years and years that it's really important to recycle, that you've got to wash out your yoghurt pots and your bean tins and make sure that they go in the right bin. And here we are, no curbside recycling. So what are the alternatives? People burying their waste, people burning their waste, and also, of course, chucking the recycling just in with the general rubbish. Now, there's a Jeff listening this morning. I don't know any more details, but Jeff, your wife's been on. Could you wish my lovely husband, Jeff, a very happy birthday? Lovely, Jeff. Happy birthday to you. We are very pleased to be wishing you a happy birthday. We are less pleased to be wishing a bin strike a happy birthday. But unfortunately, Jeff, you share this date with the Birmingham bin strike. Ed's here marking this occasion. Poor old Jeff.
Poor old Jeff. Happy bin day, Jeff. Happy birthday, Jeff. Can you believe it's still going on?
No.
I mean, it's a year and literally nothing has happened. Lots of people have spoken. Lots of people have said a lot of things. There's been a few meetings, but literally no movement in a year. And the bin strikes are still ongoing. I just want to know how you feel about it after 10. Because there's two camps, really. Maybe you're annoyed about it, maybe you're angry, or maybe you go, I just don't want to hear about it anymore. I'm just bored of people, including us, talking about bins. Genuinely, where do you stand on it and how frustrated? Or actually, could you not care less?